Hey, what's going on, guys? I just got done with the Mage Tower since the Timewalking Legion stuff just came out. I'm working on each of the healers individually, so as I get them done this week, I will release a guide for each individual healer. But we're going to go over Holy Paladin first, because this is the one that I got done first. It's definitely, out of the healers that I've tried so far, it's definitely the easiest by quite a bit, but it was still challenging nonetheless. You still have to plan and, play effectively and stuff. So we're just going to walk through it. This on the screen right here, this first wave is like pretty much irrelevant. So just while we're killing this, I will show you this notepad. This is like what I planned, like the different abilities and stuff that I plan to use on each phase, because you need to crowd control certain mobs, which we'll explain in a second. So first up, we have this Arbalist. I'll just rewind it a little bit. Doesn't really do anything, just randomly targets people in your group, does a tiny bit of damage, and then this big blue arrow is going to show up. All that really needs to happen, the goal is you hit one of your teammates with it, so just make sure there is an NPC in the way of it, and then you just dispel them when the cast is finished. So there it hits Jared, and then I dispel. But if it hits you, it doesn't actually do anything as long as you dispel yourself the moment you get the debuff. If you wait like even more than half a second after getting the debuff, it'll just drain your mana like almost empty instantly. So you can let yourself get hit by it, just make sure that you are not GCD'd and that you're ready to dispel it as soon as it hits you. And that's all the Arbalest does. You can also bait which direction they jump. So I'll rewind it again here real quick to where it jumps. They will always jump behind you and like as far away as they can in the room. So you can kind of bait them. The best place to bait them would be like back here with all the other ads and stuff. So that just means that you would face, you would face this way. And then we have the next wave coming up. Record it again. So this wave we'll go back to that notepad real quick. We plan to use Blinding Light and Arcane Torrent. Arcane Torrent, you don't need to use it. It was just helpful to use it to get rid of these stacks. So the Risen Mages, they're going to cast Arcane Blitz. It's very helpful to know who they're targeting, so have something that lets you see what they're targeting. And then every time they cast it, you see this buff that they get right here. This is going to stack up for every successful cast in a row that they get, and it will increase the amount of damage that the ability does. So once they're above, as for Paladin, once they're above like 2 stacks, you can't let them get a 3rd stack. Like you can't let them get a cast off with 2 stacks, otherwise whoever they target is dead. On other healers, it is much, much different, but we'll go over that when we get to those healers. So this one, the plan would be to use Blinding Light, so we could just like Blinding Light right here, for instance. And then there you can see I Arcane Torrent to get rid of one of the stacks, and then I'm basically just keeping the entire group topped off and just kind of healing through the Blitz, which you're going to see that a lot as Holy Paladin. You kind of just heal through the damage that's happening. Because the NPCs take significantly less damage when you're playing Paladin for some reason compared to all the other healers. I don't know if Devo Aura is just like overtuned or something or what, but they take like not even half the amount of damage that they take when you're playing other healers. So this next wave, this is where it starts like after, so wave 3 is where it like starts getting more difficult. Like you actually need to start paying attention, because first off you have a mage, and then you're gonna have these soldiers. The soldiers, they're just gonna cast, I believe it's like Fan of Knives or Throw Knives or something like that, and it will do a bunch of AoE damage if it's not interrupted, and it can't be regular interrupted, but we don't have a regular interrupt anyways. It has to be like stunned or crowd controlled in some way. So for this wave, the plan is to Hammer of Justice the mage to interrupt him, and then Turn Evil works on these guys because they are aberrations, I believe, or ghost or whatever you want to call them. So you would use Turn Evil on the soldiers. So you'll see here I let him cast 2 Arcane Blitz, and then I'm going to Hodge. You can even stun him sooner than this. You don't have to Hodge him on the 3rd cast. You can stun him on like the 2nd cast, but at least let him cast once, because then it gives you something to do while he's stunned, because you can like heal back up the damage that he did. And then you can see as soon as I Hodge him, this Knife Dance is getting cast, so we need to Turn Evil. You do want to try to make sure that your Turn Evil or your Crowd Control, whatever you're using, always make sure they get the cast off first. So there you can see he starts channeling the ability. He finished the cast, and now I'm going to CC him. If you see him before the cast finishes, then he's just going to recast it again as soon as he's unCC'd, which is really bad. So turn evil him, and he's actually going to just run off for a little bit, so that's really nice. And finish off the mage here, help do damage. And then basically if he does another cast here, he's going to fix at you. Again, as Paladin, you take like very little damage compared to other healers, so feel free to just tank him if you want. You can see me kiting him to this gate because this is where the ads are going to spawn next. So just having all my NPCs here helps a lot. There, I use Turn Evil on the cast again, and then we have the next wave. And the next wave, the plan is to wings. I also believe, do I do it correctly here? No, I do not. So what I was doing for most of my attempts is I would use my Soul Letting Ruby on him while he's low HP. So I would just go into this phase with like a bunch of crit, because this next wave is probably the hardest out of all the waves. So for this next wave, wave 4, we're doing wings, blinding light. No, sorry, we're on wave 3. I got mistaken. My bad. Wait, no. Okay, we are on wave 4. I for some reason I thought we just used blinding light, but we did not. Sorry. No, so we were just on wave 3. That was the Hodge and Turn Evil. Now we're going to wave 4. Sorry for the confusion. So this is wings, blinding light, aura mastery. Don't worry about the aura mastery and defensive thing right away, because we're not going to use that right off the bat. We're just wings and blinding light. So we pop wings as soon as we go into this. We even pop a potion here. Let the mage cast once or twice, and then they're going to knife dance, and we'll make sure we're letting them finish that cast first, and then you'll see me blinding light that interrupts the mage at the same time. And then we're just doing as much damage as we possibly can into the mage, making sure that whoever he targets doesn't die. And then these guys are going to fixate us. Again, you can tank them if you want and just out-heal them like I did. This is where the Aura Mastery and Defensive comes in on the notepad. Aura Mastery and Defensive is just so that I could sit here and tank them. So, up to you if you want to move that to somewhere more useful, but I just wanted to kill them fast. And the goal here is attack whichever one all of your NPCs are on, because right here they do this knife dance. If they both are doing that knife dance, it's gonna be really bad. So, and then you just turn evil this one that's full HP. So there you can see a turn evil. You could even do it a little bit sooner, but I just wanted to finish off the other one so that we don't have to deal with 2 casts. Tanking him. And then we're gonna have the final wave, which is going to be the same as wave 3, where we just Hammer of Justice and turn evil. It's just the only difference now is there's an Arbalest, so we're going to get those like arrows that we have to be mindful of. So here we let 1 Arcane Blitz go off, and then I Hodge immediately, and then we're going to, and see, this is where I messed up. I like am doing damage to the mage and not paying attention to the soldier. We should already have turn evil the soldier. I believe maybe I switched targets here. Yeah, I switched super late, but that's okay. Finish off the mage. Watch the blue arrow. Dispel whoever it goes on. And then we are just going to tank the soldier, I believe. Watch the blue arrow. Get ready to dispel it. Make sure that as soon as that cast goes off, you're pretty much ready to dispel. And then there you can see he did another knife dance here. So he starts doing knife dance as we get this mana sting. So I dispel and then I turn evil, and also do it the other way around. And then we just finish him off. And then that is it for the first phase of this encounter. So we're going to drink up, go into the next room. And this one, you don't have to be too specific on it. You have plenty of time, honestly, to work through this whole thing. But you basically have 5 minutes to get from here to the top of the tower. And fight a little mini boss. So what we do here is we have all these eyes in the room. They're going to slowly walk towards us. If you stand next to them, they do a lot of damage. And whenever you last hit one of them, so whenever one of them dies, they will blow up for like 90% of your HP, dealing 90% of your HP in damage. So what I do is I weaken one of them, and then I throw Light's Hammer and like Consecrate in between like 3 of them. So I pick these 3 at the top right. And then I'm going to kind of even them all out to where they're all pretty low HP. And then what I'm going to do is just bubble and kill all 3 of these at the same time. Again, you don't have to do this. You can kill one at a time if you really want to, but this just speeds it up a little bit and makes it a little less stressful to get to the top of the tower. But even when I wasn't doing this, like the before pulls, when I was just killing one at a time, And I don't even think I was using bubble. I got to the top of the tower with like a minute still, like finishing the top of the tower with a minute left still, so it's totally fine. And then these last two, or last three I should say, you want to kill very slowly. Make sure you full heal yourself first. Basically the way I was doing it was casting Judgment and Holy Shock on the eyes, and then using like the Word of Glory or the Holy Power on myself, and then like hard cast healing into myself if I still needed it, if I had like an Infusion of Light proc. Or if I'm low HP and they're about to die, I would Holy Shock myself. But just make sure you're full HP and then kill one at a time. These little orbs, they don't really do too much. You just don't want to run into them, so you can deal damage to disable them temporarily. And then here we pop wings again just to do a little bit of extra damage. Nothing special about this pack, you literally just kill it. Open the gate and go to this next part. You will see there's a guy that is running up and down the stairs, right here, this guy. Make sure you dispel him, so you can either target dispel him or just mouse over dispel him, whatever works. But I would just dispel him first because it's just annoying if you run into him. And then you're just going to single target heal all of these guys on the sides, which it's literally just use procs, holy shocks, holy power, or just what I'm doing is just spamming Light of the Martyr on them until they're done. And then you have plenty of time. If you don't heal them in time, I don't know how much time you have exactly, but if you don't heal them in a certain amount of time, they turn into mobs. I believe it's the soldiers from outside, the ones that do the knife cast. And then these mana stings, you either CC them or just dispel yourself instantly. It does the exact same thing, just make sure you don't lose your mana and that you don't dispel yourself too late. So I hodged the first one, and then I could like blind the second one if I wanted to, or turn it. You could just literally do turn evil over and over if you really wanted to. Whatever works for you. It's very easy. And you can bait him to spawn in a better spot if you stand at the top of the stairs and just like face down the stairs, because then he just spawns in front of you over and over because he can't like get behind you if you're by a wall, which just makes it slightly less annoying to have to run around and chase him like that. You kind of saw that he couldn't teleport behind me, so he just kind of teleports in front. Oh, also the NPCs on the sides can get hit by the arrows, so you can always like use them to block it if you really need to. Okay, so we're going to the next room. The way you know if you have enough time is by the time you get to the top of these stairs, you're going to want at least like a minute and 30 seconds. I would say like 2 minutes to be safe by the time you get to the top of these stairs. I just run up the left side and then I just hit any of them that are in my way, and then I consecrate when I get up to the top of the stairs just to keep them DC'd for as long as possible. When you get in this room, this guy's going to cast Mind Spike on you, does a tiny bit of damage. And the reason that's dangerous is because these eyes, you're trying to kill them like in the first room, and they'll do a bunch of damage. And if you get comboed by a Mind Spike and an eye dying at the same time, it's pretty close to death. I got hit by the combo a couple times and I didn't die, but it was very, very close. I also never tried to stun him, so I'm pretty sure you can just stun him. So if you want to like keep him stunned and CC'd and stuff while you're killing the eyes, you can probably definitely do that. And then these little spinning eyes that spawn right here, you can see them all spawn in the room here in a second. Right there, they just spin around in circles. They just do a little bit of damage to you. You can tank them, so don't like freak out if you're stuck in them like I am. You just kind of heal through it, take your time, make sure you're full health, kill the next eye, make sure you're full health, kill the next eye. This is where Saved by the Light like came in handy, the talent that I took in the second row, because it just gives you a nice little absorb shield whenever you kill one of these things. See, that got a little bit sketchy because I got hit by a Mind Spike, the eye died, and I was like in the lasers. But yeah, you can hodge him as I just did right there instead of at the beginning. And then you just DPS him down. You have plenty of time to kill him. And then we move on to the last phase of the entire Mage Tower. I'll go ahead and fast forward it a little bit because... Oh, this is where I believe... Did I switch talents on my Paladin? I think I did. Yeah, I didn't. No, we didn't switch talents at all. Okay. That must have been on my Shaman. I'm just getting confused because I'm playing a bunch of different healers in this. So, you can swap talents in here, by the way. In between phases, you just use the tome. Okay, so the first, I guess I'll call them phases, even though we've been describing that as like the Mage Tower thing. So the first phase of this boss fight, we'll just say this is a boss fight. The first phase is really easy. I would recommend beaconing Jared and one of the other NPCs. I don't know if I end up switching beacon here, but if not, we'll see. And then basically what you want to do is I just fill up my holy power here while there's a bunch of downtime in RP. The NPCs are going to hit each other nonstop, so you just want to kind of keep them alive, but don't waste all your healing on them, because there's going to be these little ads that spawn, and you need to heal the ads, similar to the ones that were on the stairs, but these ones walk towards the boss. And if they get to the boss, it empowers him for the final phase, I believe. Or it's like if there's, I think if two touch him, then you lose or something. I don't know exactly how it works. I only ever let one hit him during my tries, so it's the same thing as the stair guys. Like, don't panic, just literally use holy power, use holy shock, and then if you don't have holy power or holy shock, just spam Light of the Martyr. And then in the downtime, while you're waiting for more ads to spawn, you just heal your teammates and keep them nice and healthy there. I'd throw a Light's Hammer on them just to do a little bit extra healing. Same thing here. And also when these guys are up here, like this guy, so some of them spawn closer than others. So here's like the barrier, right? And you can see how this one's like past the barrier and this one's behind it. So this one that's in front will be targetable first. They're not targetable until they step like right here, or kind of towards like the bottom of the steps. So be mindful of that, because you could like sit there and waste a lot of time trying to target them when there's one that's already like way closer than the other one. So try to find which one's closest. And I think this one behind me is actually the closest one. But also, right here, I think, yeah, I think you get to see it here. Be careful of having your camera like this. I would recommend flipping it around the other way, because when it's like this, where Jared is at the bottom of your screen, or kind of sitting behind you like this, he will, for some reason, his hitbox for mouse overs is so huge. Like if I'm mousing over him like this right now, I don't know if it's because of like the beacon of light or something, but it will hit him if he's sitting like this. Like there, I just hit him with a holy shock and completely wasted, or whatever spell I just used. And then it gets like really sketchy. But so this is where you should have your camera. Like you should be behind the boss like this, facing this way. Makes it a little easier. Same thing here. You can see that this one is getting down the stairs like way before the others. In this final wave, so there's 3 waves of ads that you need to heal. This third and final wave, you only need to heal 2 of them. So just ignore the third one. As soon as you heal 2 of them, it just transitions into the last phase. And then the hard part. So I didn't have drums, that would probably help a lot. So bring drums with you. Use drums here. So you lust, you pop cooldowns, pop wings, pop literally everything except for defensive stuff. I even use a potion here, and you're just doing as much damage as possible. And then there's just 2 major mechanics during this whole thing. So the boss is gonna, and it's all desynced, so it's not scripted at all. It's gonna like randomly happen all over the place. So it's kind of unpredictable. So you kind of just have to play. This is where you have to play pretty smart. So he's gonna jump on you occasionally and drop these giant circles on the floor. Don't be like me. Stay by the edge of the room, because you run out of room very fast. You'll see that at the end. So try to spawn the puddles like around the edge of the room as close as you can to each other. And then I think the boss can also be stunned during this whole phase, so use that, because I don't think I use stuns or anything. And then the other mechanic is you getting this debuff right here. So you can see this debuff on my frames. You'll have this little like orb above your head. Nobody else gets it, only you do. And basically the way it works is when it expires, the lower HP you are, the less damage you do to your team. So the higher HP you are, the more your team takes damage. You'll see it here. So I let myself intentionally get low HP, and then it's going to detonate, and you can see there it detonated for still a decent amount of damage, and I was pretty low HP. So be very careful, because if you're like half HP or higher, it's probably going to kill Jared at least. And that's who most of your healing should be going into, is Jared, probably, because he's going to be tanking the boss like pretty much the whole time. Sometimes you'll see me taunt the boss out of the circle so that I can actually do damage and help speed up the fight. And here we're dropping Light's Hammer. There I taunted the boss because he's not jumping on me and not doing damage, and I don't have the debuff yet, so it's like okay for me to take damage. And then on Paladin, it makes it kind of easy because you can just Light's Martyr yourself down intentionally. Just be aware not to lower yourself too much because the boss will overlap sometimes. So like here, like there, we got to jump right after. So if you're too low, you're just gonna insta-kill yourself. So here, he's gonna probably do another jump. It is, and then he debuffs me. Fire here. There, I should have definitely lighted the Martyr a little bit more. And he's gonna jump, and you can see here, like, now I'm starting to realize that the floor is like running out of space already, and the boss is not looking good in terms of HP. So I start saying, like, this is where you should ideally stand. Like, you have a circle right here at the edge of the room. You literally just stand in this tiny little pocket. And you can also overlap circles on top of each other if you're healthy enough, if you're like full HP and don't have a debuff. But see there, like we got a debuff, but then he immediately jumped on me. And sometimes he'll give you the debuff and then jump on you like with 5 seconds left on the debuff. So it gets very, very, very dangerous. There I lowered myself. And if you don't use Light of the Martyr to lower yourself, the other option and what other healers have to do is stand inside of like the green shit on the floor. So that's why that stuff is spawning, and that's how you use it and stuff. So I definitely could be using my defensive here. There I'm like full HP, so I really got to lower myself here. I don't even remember how to get myself low enough. Couple Light's Martyrs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, that was like so sketchy. And that's just because I stood in the green stuff for way too long and like waited too long to get myself low. I full healed myself. This is where I'm like, oh, I'm running out of space, and the boss is 25% health. And then I'm ready to heal myself. It's really sketchy. That was really bad. Honestly, I should have found a different way to do that, or just press the defensive. Now looking back at this, I played this really, really poorly. So this last boss fight should be a lot easier for people if you just like keep your head in the game and focus on, you know, important abilities. There we Light's Martyr. And you can see here, like I'm not, so you can see right here, I'm not using my Holy Power and like using Word of Glory on Jared and stuff because I have Beacon on myself. And the only reason I have Beacon on myself is because of the Saved by the Light talent to give myself a shield when I get low HP. So after Saved by the Light goes off, you could always switch your Beacon to somebody else. But I just didn't want to have to like keep spending globals to put it on me every 30 seconds or minute or whatever the cooldown is. So go, we lower ourselves a little bit more. There's the Save by Light, like that literally completely saved me. And then this is where I'm going to start dropping puddles like inside other puddles because I ran out of space really quick. There I get the debuff and then a jump. Tiny little space left. And we salvaged it. And then Jared dies to the explosion. But it's okay because it still lets us get it. So that was the Mage Tower on Paladin. Again, I'm working on all the healers, getting them all done. This is the set you get when you complete it, and you get a bunch, you get some achievements and stuff. So hopefully that helps. Let me know how it goes for you guys, and if there's a certain healer that you guys would like me to like expedite the process on getting videos out for this Mage Tower stuff, then let me know, because I'm kind of just working through them one at a time and taking my time with it and trying to learn it. So because it is significantly harder on some healers than others. Anyways, thanks for watching. Sorry it was a long video. See you later.